It was important for me to focus on the N word in this first episode. I wanted to remind Black people and people all around the world that not all Black folks have co-signed to the use of the N word. You know, no matter how you spell it or what the sentiment is, personally, I fear that the N word will continue to have negative mental effects on the Black race for generations to come. You know, if you call someone something long enough, after a time, they start to believe it. And they may even start to try to become it, especially when it's done from a position of fear and tyranny. And that's what happened with some Black people and the N word. It was imposed, it was reinforced with fear and from a position of power. Now, the entertainment industry, through its tolerance of the overly frequent and unnecessary use of the N word in songs, movies, on network TV, has aided overwhelmingly in attempting to normalize this word, wittingly or unwittingly. They have. And the word in any form is dehumanizing to Black people. It's traumatizing to a lot of people to hear, even when used as a quote unquote term of endearment. All Black people have not agreed to it and have no degree of comfort with the word. Um, I don't blame Black rappers, writers, or entertainers for using the N word as if we all agree to it, because they are victims. They are victims exhibiting what I would call a form of Stockholm syndrome. Some have fallen in love with their captor's characterization of themselves. And I know that's hard to hear. It's hard to hear, but it's true. Um, I Let me see if I can uh, give you an example or draw a metaphor of something that I feel like all Black people can be objective about. Right? We can take ourselves out of the picture. The German swastika. Let's say after the Holocaust, the Jews uh, adopted the swastika because it was, they were exposed to it for so long under this tyranny, and they said, "Hey, let's adopt it. Let's wear it on our clothing. Let's put it on our flag. Let's change the Israeli flag. Let's take the Star of David off and put the swastika on there. Or better yet, let us combine the Star of David with the swastika and make it our own." Wouldn't we say that those people are suffering from a form of Stockholm syndrome? Wouldn't we say that those people are now identifying with the mark of their oppressors? Wouldn't the world see them as a conquered people? Well, what has happened with the N word is even worse, because some of us, we are wearing this thing in our hearts and minds. After 9/11, when the Twin Towers went down, America was quick to erase the Twin Towers from movies and pictures. And you got to ask yourself why. Why did they do that? Why? Because, they knew that even seeing these buildings intact would continue to traumatize Americans, re traumatize them, and maybe even instill in some of them a sense of fear that may never leave them. The N word was never erased. There was no concerted effort made to subtract it from our discourse. Instead, it was reinforced on satirical cartoons and put into TV shows and nursery rhymes, and even our favorite show, The Jeffersons. On television, it was said in every movie where a Black person was at a disadvantage, and even in shows where they weren't at a disadvantage. And so, of course, you have beaten this thing into a people, and over time, some people are going to accept it. A good friend of mine once said to me, you only teach what you know, and you only know what you've been taught. You only teach what you know, and you only know what you've been taught. And I feel like the older generation is poisoning the younger ones, kind of robbing them of their ability to see themselves as the best, crippling their ability to see themselves as simply deserving as others. And so, how can this not ripple into the next generation? I was recently watching TV and saw a black political candidate had a commercial on, and in that commercial, his opponent, who's another black person, was referred to as the N-word, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I felt like the soul left my body. In the days to come, I would wait for the outrage. I waited, and there was nothing. There was nothing on CNN. There was nothing on Fox. There was nothing from the RNC. Nothing from the DNC. Just nothing, And I feel that person now sits in the United States Congress, and I feel like that person needs to be held to some accountability. The party needs to hold him to accountability. The people who campaign for him needs to be, out there holding him to account. So, I think we're gonna have a great show. I think we have some very colorful characters, some excellent, exciting entertainment to bring into your hearts and homes. But what I want to do is, outside of this first episode, I use this first episode just to kind of make a point about the N word, to drive the point home. But after this, if the N word is ever said in the show, it will be bleeped out. Most likely won't be said, because I want to challenge all the writers and creators to not rely on the lowest common denominator, not rely on the N word as a crutch, as it's been relied on over the past maybe going on 20 years now. It's like, when you can't find anything to say, use the N word. When you joke, ain't got a punchline, use the N word. We got to stop that. And so, we're gonna hold ourselves to a higher standard, and we're gonna write situational comedy that people can laugh at, and not slapstick comedy. We're gonna write real drama and express real feelings without having to resort to um, you know taking dignity away from someone.